Baseball is such a perfect metaphor for life. It really is. And one of the biggest lessons in life, maybe the biggest, we've all heard it unless you were just brought into this world. And in that case, welcome. Just beware in 2025, parents are weird now. They don't really raise their children. You're about to be raised by TikTok. It's a pretty crazy world out there. Actually, never mind that thing about TikTok. But the point is, we've all heard that you can't really take anything in life for granted. And it's something we've all heard because, well, it's obviously true. Things can be taken from us so quickly, and a baseball way of that is what the San Diego Padres had following the 2022 season. Things were looking just about as great as can be without a World Series title. Their rival Dodgers were being clowned on, and not that the Dodgers were necessarily on the way down, but everything seemed to be so on the up in San Diego. Yet, in just 2 years' time, the narrative could not have flipped anymore. Things are just completely different to the point it's almost like satire at this point, and it really is wild how we got here. Really quick, as always, if you're part of the 56% of viewers not subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that button if you enjoy the videos, as in 2022, the Dodgers won 111 games. 111 games. That's insane. But after losing to not just a team that won 22 less games than they did, or a team they beat 14 out of 19 times against each other that regular season, but a team that also happened to be their biggest, most hated rivals. Just like that, 111 wins down the drain. It was very humiliating. And then the Padres followed that up with adding another shortstop to a team already full of shortstops, except this one was to a 30-year-old Xander Bogaerts for an 11-year, $280 million contract, which, yeah, even at the time, that was weird and stupid that they did that. But it was still the idea that they were spending a lot of money and going all in to add to a team that already had Manny Machado, just traded for Juan Soto, was getting Fernando Tatis Jr. back after they'd just taken down the Dodgers. I mean, all was more than right in the city of San Diego. A super team was formed. The Dodgers didn't do much of anything that offseason, and this was looking like a golden era for Padres baseball. And to make matters worse for the Dodgers, the Astros won a championship, proving that they can do so without cheating. Bad ending for LA, with a very good ending for the Padres, with a lot of expectations moving forward. But 2023 was not ideal for either franchise. The Padres just didn't click. Individually, a lot of their players did well, but they just never figured it out enough to go on a run, missing the postseason entirely, while the Dodgers won the division again. They were great, only to be humiliated even worse by an NL West team, this time via some snakes. So although the Padres didn't do anything themselves, this mocking of Clayton Kershaw on the Jumbotron still ended up pretty valid in the context of how things ended for LA and Kershaw himself. Now, a big reason the Dodgers didn't do much in the offseason leading into 2023, they had their sights on Shohei Ohtani, signing him to the biggest contract in sports history before deferring over 97% of it and then trading for Tyler Glasnow, extending him, and then signing Japanese ace Yoshinobu Yamamoto, while over in San Diego, the vibes were just not in. The owner, Peter Seidler, passed away, someone who was known as sick before that, so it wasn't the most surprising death, but that didn't make it easy to swallow. It was tough, and still is for even more reasons we'll later get into, but Seidler was a genuine man who simply wanted to bring joy to others around him, just in general to the people of San Diego. He wanted to help the homeless as much as he could, and of course with the Padres, cheap wasn't a word that existed to him. He only knew how to spend money to help the team win, even if some of the contracts were nuts. He just simply wanted the Padres to win, and it's a pretty known thing that he was aware his time was coming to an end soon and wanted to do everything he could to help push the Padres to a championship before he died, hence offering Trey Turner and Aaron Judge more money than the Phillies and Yankees did, respectively, and then settling on Bogaerts when those two declined. It's heartbreaking, it really is, and 2024 was a year they honored Seidler by having his initials on a yellow heart on the jerseys all season long. From an on-field standpoint, the Padres also traded away their best player, the man they gave up so much for in a trade in the middle of 2022, Juan Soto. His agent Scott Boras has been on the record saying if Peter Seidler never died, Soto would have been a Padre for the rest of his career. Whether that's true or not, it doesn't matter now, but the Padres made 2024 interesting anyway. They didn't start off great, not bad, just meh, a 500 team, until they just took off and had the best record in the second half. No more Juan Soto, doesn't matter. One of the guys they got for Soto, Michael King, was great and one of the best pitchers all year. It worked out, and they didn't win the division, but after whooping a beat-down Braves team, they were back where they stood just a couple years earlier. Los Angeles. But this time things were pretty different for multiple reasons. For the Padres, swap Soto with Tatis, add Dylan Cease to the mix, and no more Josh Hader out of the bullpen, but they now had like 4 separate guys who were all better than Hader in 2024. As for the Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani being the biggest add, he was no longer in the fake LA. Add Yamamoto too. That 2024 NLDS will always be a classic for many reasons, but there was a certain moment that was so poetic, at least from a Dodger perspective. I'll never forget, after the Padres quickly jumped ahead 3-0, Manny Machado took Yamamoto deep. The obvious thought is, man, are the Dodgers really about to choke again into the Padres for the second time in 3 years? Dodger Stadium's kind of quiet, the vibes are so low there, and then Shohei Ohtani walks up to the plate with a couple guys on. And when he connected on that 97-mile-an-hour fastball by Dylan Cease, sending a bullet into the right field bleachers to tie the game as he threw his bat, that was Shohei saying, nah, this year's going to be different. Don't worry, guys. And it was different. Completely different. Nothing was a cakewalk after that point. But looking back after what we now know the Dodgers ended up doing, going on and not just win this series, but win it all, it's poetic that their first runs the entire postseason were off the bat of the new guy, Shohei, to tie the game when things started off looking like the year before. I just find that cool. But again, it wasn't easy. The Padres went on to smoke the Dodgers in Game 2, go up 6-1 early in Game 3, going up 2-1 in the series. It's looking like deja vu all over again until the Dodger pitching staff decided to shut down the Padres from the moment they went up 6-1 all the way till the final out. Fernando Tatis Jr.'s epic bomb in Game 3 ended up being the Padres' final runs of the entire series. And the final out of the series, Fernando Tatis Jr. God, baseball so freaking poetic. But anyway, just when the Padres looked to have their way with the Dodgers, again, things took a much different turn. Their season was over, and all they could do was watch the Dodgers win it all while they still stand as one of baseball's 5 ringless teams. And things have only continued to go downhill from there. And the months following that series loss for San Diego, it's been 2 things. Not very pretty or eventful. For starters, there's a freaking civil war going on, fighting within the team as the ownership is all of a sudden in a very complicated position. Peter Seidler's wife and now widow, Sheil Seidler, is suing a couple of Peter's brothers for trying to take full control of the Padres and basically shut her out. That's her accusation, at least. Her argument is that Peter's wishes were for her and their children to be next in line for lead ownership of the team. And according to her, a couple of Peter's brothers are not abiding by those dying wishes and are trying to take full control while she's demanding she gets full control, even accusing one of the brothers' wives of racism in the lawsuit, as she's Indian, and the brothers of sexism. And look, I don't know who's in the right, and I'm not going to pretend that I know who's in the right. But what I do know is that this clearly sucks. We all can see that. It sucks to see family fighting like this, especially after the death of someone, and this kind of unstableness in any ownership group can't help but drawing players your way. Guys like Roki Sasaki, because the other thing going on with the Padres this offseason is the lack of any additions. They've only really lost players this offseason, with rumors they might trade some others. The Xander Bogaerts contract looks worse and worse every time it's thought about. Luis Arraez keeps winning batting titles, yet everyone wants to trade him. Their best pitcher, Dylan Cease, only has a year left of team control before free agency, so there's been rumors about a potential trade for him. And the one player who they look to potentially add, arguably the biggest prize of the offseason, Roki Sasaki, chose the Dodgers over them for less money. Sasaki even threw at Petco Park in Padres gear recently, which I thought was weird and showed he could be signing there, but I guess that's normal for players doing workouts for teams? I don't know. Looks like it turns out he'll end up as much of a Padres legend as Kobe Bryant was a Celtics legend. Not that the Padres had much of an upper hand anyway, considering the Dodgers were who they were, competing with for the most attractive place for Sasaki to go to, but if there was any advantage they had, it was actually the money, because that was already limited for any team, but they were able to offer slightly more than LA did by being able to max out their international bonus pool money and offer Roki Sasaki more than $10 million, only for him to choose the Dodgers for $6.5 million. The Padres are very down bad right now, and just when you thought things couldn't get any more ridiculous, they get completely absurd. One of the best relievers in all baseball last year, Tanner Scott, a lefty who the Padres traded for from Miami, just signed with the Dodgers. And cue every baseball fan right now. Son of a bitch! Even when that trade went down, it was a little weird considering the Padres gave up a lot for Scott, who again is a reliever and someone who was just months away from free agency at the time. Like, is that worth some top prospects? Well, how about trading top prospects for a reliever who ends up being good, but you lose to the Dodgers in the first round before they go on a sign out? At this point, I feel like any signing by the Dodgers has to be playing out like an Impractical Jokers episode in their front office. Like, they're just like, okay, next stare is to sign this other really good player. They do it, and then I'll start maniacally laughing while the chaos ensues outside. So in the span of 2 days, the Padres lose out on Roki Sasaki to the Dodgers after offering him more money and after having him wear their gear and throw for them. And then watch Tanner Scott, a great reliever and someone who they traded a lot for, sign with the Dodgers. The one guy that Shohei Ohtani could not hit, the one thing they had over him. Yeah, the Dodgers, that's not an issue for them anymore because he's now teammates with Shohei. This genuinely feels like satire. Now, don't get it wrong. Things could be a lot worse. A lot of teams do, in fact, have it a lot worse. But the Padres have definitely fallen off since they looked to be on top of the world a couple of years ago. And then when they found a spark and played to the best record to finish the regular season and had the Dodgers on the ropes in the playoffs, things may not have been fully coming to fruition the way it was originally intended to be, like with Juan Soto. But the Padres really look to have something special going on. But you cannot take anything for granted, as it really is insane how quick things can change, how quick the narrative switches, how fast things move in a new direction. As the Dodgers went from about to be chokers again while the Padres get the upper hand again, only for the offense to fall flat on its face while the Dodgers got their championship before only adding more elite talent, including some guys the Padres had a chance to have and even had themselves, while the Padres do nothing and have an ugly fight from within take place. The Padres still have a good team. They still have potential, and they have the ability to get out of the state they're currently in, a state of being broken. But the Padres being broken is pretty undeniable right now, and you can attribute a lot of that to the Dodgers. Let me know your thoughts, and thank you for watching.